there I go.
Chrissy, are you gonna be able to do it? It's in
You did email me, he'd
Yeah,
log in for me.
he'd log in, just making sure that someone's gonna.
In that folder.
Minutes template,
Yes.
and then do I save them as something else?
No, just type that
Type
right
in
there.
that, okay.
Back. I believe we are streaming live. I'm getting our slides started. All is well in the world. Kelsey, can you see the slides?
I can see them.
So, and I can keep this one here. I think we're ready to roll. By the time the year is ended, we'll have the whole system just running perfectly.
Okay, good afternoon and evening. Welcome to the Sarah Smith March 2026 GOTEE meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noted on the Sarah Smith website. Wait, Javier is waiting for the host to start the meeting. He might be in the wrong one.
Is he in the wrong one? I don't see him waiting.
He may have done the same thing I did. I can
You want to
email him the
send?
link real quick. Yep.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Lakeisha says she's virtually now as well
Bunker.
too.
I've got it. It's
And
up
she needs
here.
the
You need
link.
to see.
Kelsey, can you email Lakeisha as well?
Oh, and we're missing some more. She was hopping on too. Let me text her. Just to check, because she said she would get
I
it.
can only see the meeting notice for 12.
3/12.
He said from February.
Yeah, it's March 12th.
It was in the Tuesday email.
Yeah, I replied back with it. Thank you if you're out in the audience, out there in the wide world of the actual world. We're just making sure everybody can get on.
Oh, Jennifer's texting me.
Okay, who did you say and more needed it as well? And who
for
else?
more,
I have
Javier and Lakeisha.
Yeah, Jennifer says 12/26.
They're emailing it to her. It should.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, she's not in the right one. It's the link for my email. Did I email the wrong one?
It's if you scroll up, like in each of your emails is the link for, but they're all separate ones. So we just clicked on the wrong one. Yeah.
Okay.
My apologies. Get in? No, not in.
Not yet.
Why don't you go ahead and start roll call for those who are here and we know they're getting in?
Oh, wait, hold on. We're pleased to call this meeting to order at 3:06 p.m.
All right. Stacy Perot,
I'm here.
Simona, Hinton Jefferson,
Present. They both say they're in the waiting room.
But
Elizabeth,
they're in the wrong link. Here.
Anne McMahon,
Kelsey sent them.
Yes,
They're not in.
there. Thank you. Chrissy Stewart,
I'll stop sharing them.
present.
No waiting room.
And I'm just going to reply all with it so everybody has it. That way no one's missed.
Thank you.
Is there something different to put if they're online? That's still.
No, no. There we go. That's Miss Moore's coming in.
Do we have any guests present?
I'm in the room.
Miss Moore got the link. I'm not going to share my screen again until we get everybody in. Just being sure. Miss Moore, can you hear us okay?
items.
I sure can.
Perfect. Now we just need Javier. Sure. Hey.
Hello,
Sorry about that.
everyone. No, that's okay. Hi, everyone.
I'm afraid if I share my screen, I'm gonna miss Javier. But I'm gonna go ahead and share.
We'll call vote Jennifer Moore.
Present.
Jennifer. Okay. Kelsey Bunker,
Present.
Lakeisha Smith. Did she come in?
She's
Present.
in.
And Javier, we're still waiting.
We're still waiting. We'll get started. I'm gonna keep watching. I've got them up on my screen. So I can see them and then you guys can see that screen. We're all good with that. Awesome.
Okay, so the team will only be able to take action if there's an official quorum present to whoever took roll. Is there a quorum present?
Yes.
Thank you. Since there's a quorum present, we can now move to the approval of the agenda. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies are available on the Go Team page of the Sarah Smith website. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No.
And if there's no changes, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Anne. I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
This is Casey Carter. I'll second.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear them? They're so quiet. They're afraid to be loud.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. And abstentions, please say abstain. So the agenda has passed. We will now review and approve the minutes from our last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you and copies are available on the Go Team page of the Sarah Smith website. Are there any corrections to the previous meeting's minutes? If there are no corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
I motion to approve minutes.
A second.
I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed, nay. And abstentions.
I would like to announce for everybody, Javier has arrived.
Hello, everyone.
It takes a village. It takes us all. We got there.
We will have we will have one additional action item today that we will complete after the discussion, which is the final budget recommendation after we have reviewed and discussed it. May I have a move to act on this additional action item after it is discussed?
Are we moving to amend the budget or?
Are we
I
moving? to
mean,
make
moving
a-
to amend the
Do we have to,
agenda?
does it say that we have to approve to do it?
No, it just
Later.
said that it goes into additional action items, and then this is like the standard script for
Yeah.
action items. Like, do you have to vote
To
if
do
it's in
it
the,
later?
well, do you have to vote if it's in the, do you have to move if you need a vote on an additional action item? Because we have to take action today, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't we
I
do
don't
that
think so,
before the
'cause
vote? We make
it's
a
already
motion to
listed
make-
on the
Yeah.
agenda, so I think we're okay.
Okay,
Move to make a move.
I'm sure we'll get a message if
The higher power.
yes, if they're watching us and we have done it. But as long as we're not approving anything till we've reviewed it.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
so we will now move to the discussion item on our agenda, and there is one to discuss the final budget recommendation as presented by Ms. Burrow.
That's my job. I'm gonna do that for sure. I'm gonna close this door first. This is where we are in the budget process. Woo!
Very
So
excited.
we're on that very last step. And we had such a rich discussion last time. The whole purpose is really just to review it and to let you know nothing changed from when we talked last time. And so I'm gonna present the final budget recommendations for Go Team approval. The first thing to share is that I just kept this here so you know is our first thing was to say is if there were changes or there aren't changes. there aren't any changes to the allocation and staffing change. Everything that we discussed went through HR at our staffing conference really well. And we had discussed and cleared up everything when we met before.
Mhm.
So it stands at the same that we looked at before. The allocations, this is how they fall into the different accounting codes for our budget. And you can see the vast majority is under instruction because we put most of our money in people and getting that to in front of the kids. And so before it is a discussion, so it's not just all about me chatting. Is there anything that you guys wanted to review or revisit?
I want to let the steward know we're good to go.
Okay. Anything from the last? No, so it tells me then I defer it back to you to do the action.
Can
And
I ask one question?
Yeah.
So, regarding the teacher allotment for the GATE program, my question is, it seems like the year before the funds you get dictate the year going forward. And I'm just wondering if in the fall, if there's any, or after the eligibility process this year, if there's ever any looking at the numbers again and seeing, based on the model, can we accommodate the students, or is that something that, like, when they release your reserves, you might look at, or what is the procedure there?
If you guys remember when we talked with the budget, we established like what we would use the reserve funds for. And I do have those slides all the way at the end. If we go back to, because they had us put them in here. We talked about, hold on, I gotta get all the way to the end. That slide. We gotta get to the. So this last time's meeting. Sorry, there's the reserve, strategic use of resources. We put that for our reserve funds, let me make this big. And this is something that we could always discuss and adjust, that if we get the reserve funds, we would optimize class sizes and supports to allow staff to support every student. And we focused on the homeroom teachers because we didn't want what happened in fourth to happen again, and that if we approached that level. And then we broke down the other pieces. And so I am sure if we found that we struggled to serve all the gifted students, and I certainly hope we have that problem. Bring them.
Yeah.
We do have additional support staff who are in other roles who also share gifted, and so we could maybe accommodate that way. Or before we made a decision, we could always come back and say, we're not seeing the situation we have like with homerooms right now, but we are seeing this situation and we could amend this. If that were the case. I am optimistic that 2 teachers at each building, one would be there 4 out of the 5 days, will be able to serve, particularly that side. But if this side were to explode, we could always revisit that. Does the team agree that if either any of our departments were heavy, that it wouldn't just apply to homeroom, that we could look at it that way too?
Yeah, I think adding a 4th GATE teacher for next year is a great step anyway. We're right this year, we have 3 gifted teachers at Sarah Smith, and adding to have a 4th teacher next year improves our opportunities to service the students that are in gifted and for talent development.
So,
But
but
I think it's great to have the flexibility with the reserves of Ms. Moore and the other.
if
gifted
any
teachers are-
program besides homeroom were off balance, I think our priority would be homeroom first. And then creative scheduling, if we had to do both, if both came about.
Right, because I know that there's different, with the charter system in the state and everything, there's different class sizes that has changed. We have more latitude there. And so it's not like, you have to have a whole bunch of gifted teachers if you're going to do resource because you're capped at 12, and that's just not the case anymore. So, but I do think that, at some point again, class size can be an issue for us as well. And so I just wanted to see how malleable, I guess, that little piece is in this as we look forward. And then, just to see, because I know we're losing fifth graders, but we're also getting a new crop of kindergartners in. So just looking at numbers today. So thank you.
And you have that inside scoop on maybe those that might be coming up for eligibility. So if we get funky, we can always bring it back.
I have a question about something you said, that there are other team members who could serve gifted students. So what does that mean? Who does
Well,
that mean?
if we needed, for example, like I was thinking, if we needed to take the load off, maybe off of gifted to be able to serve talent development, there's the possibility that some of our staff who are either EIP or ESOL that are providing supports also have gifted, that maybe they could assume a segment of talent development to take some of that load off if we got too full. And so like sometimes it's just, all right, this person has a segment available, like let's say Kiesa had gifted, which maybe she does. And so she does. And so we wanted to do some talent development. We could maybe carve that time out.
I wanted to piggyback off of what Aaron brought up, about the odd number of homerooms that are projected.
Yes,
So they will need a partner. We still doing?
we're doing a trio. And I have this for my principal's report, but I can
Okay.
do it now.
No, we
Kind of
can
fits
do it.
with this, it's class sizes. We're gonna have the DLI duo. We're gonna have it like for fifth grade, there's 7. So we'll have a duo, and a trio. And so the trio will divide up. One teacher will be responsible for the reading for 90 minutes, and they'll do reading and small group instruction. The other teacher will do writing and content, science and social studies, and that'll be 90 minutes. And then the third teacher will do math for 90 minutes, and they'll share those 3 homerooms, and we'll rotate them.
And then so now for the duo, so the duo will still do 90, 90, 90. It's just that the trio will just keep switching
The
space.
trio will do 90, 90, 90, but the duo will continue to have, it's about 130 minutes, 135 minutes each side, because they'll divide it just like DLI has been,
Okay, I see, yeah,
because it's 270 and 270.
got it.
Comments?
Yes.
Anything else from these? But I do agree that we, may need to look at it programmatically as well as homeroom if
But if you need to pull another teacher to balance them out to 8, then you'll pull from the reserve.
that's where we would start. And if our numbers are so high, our reserve will go higher than where we're at, because I do think it's a very conservative number that we have in our budget at 787. Right now, we're at about 802, and that would feed into that budget, so it's a little lower than where we're at. But that's what I see.
Is that part of the budget vote that we've said what we wanted with the reserves? Is that something that we
And I could go right in here as soon as I can escape
add in?
and just put that we
Adjust.
can look at it programmatically as well.
Yeah.
Tiny.
Like, remember what happened at the beginning of the year this year? And it was like, let's look at how we want to plan and spend the reserves, and then that's how she.
Include programs, and I'll put IE gifted. Is that good? In that way, and the cost would be the same, because gifted teachers and ESOL teachers and EIP teachers all cost the same. On the budget side. We good with that? Any other questions?
Has this been shared with the staff and like the other admins and stuff?
Admins, the SILT team, for staff, we did, the leadership team and shared the visual with the stars to do that piece. I don't think we filtered it all the way down to the whole staff, because I don't think we've come together as a whole staff like since then, but we will on the 16th.
Okay.
But the team leaders all gave input.
Okay.
I've been trying to give them little breaks, so they didn't have to meet with me all the time. Anything else? And then Simona, I think we're at you. This is the action on the budget.
Ooh, yeah. All right, so we're gonna do the action. So this is now where we say we approve the budget.
Fine.
Yeah.
I always get like butterflies when you do
Okay,
that.
hold on. Okay. So we have discussed the final budget recommendation for the 26-27 school year. May I have a motion to approve the final budget recommendation?
This is Elizabeth, and I make a motion to approve the final budget recommendation.
May I have a second?
This is Anne, I second.
All in favor, please say aye.
I
Any opposed? And any abstentions? The budget recommendation for the 26-27 school year has passed.
Woo!
Ooh, that's big.
It is big. It is a big, beautiful budget.
Oh.
Sorry. I don't know where I've heard that before. Oh,
So now we'll go to information items, the principal's report.
yes, and we didn't amend anything, but I've tried to put all the little questions and everything you sent into today's to kind of discuss and add. Some of them are big, some of them are little. And so, as you see here, this is the agenda, and then we'll be able to also talk about the CAP meeting down the road. So I know Simona sent that she would like to make sure that we talked about the academic and social events that are upcoming. I put in front of those that are here, and I'll hold one up for our teams to see. And my rationale for not building it in as a slide is that we try not to make our public times and dates of event, our dates and times for events public just for safety and security. And so what you see before you is going in the weekly star this week. And what we did is we took from the calendar all the big events that are coming, and teachers, it was in the morning email this morning. And we have, and you're going to get it too, so you'll have it, but I decided I'd print them and put them out here so you could see, because as we were looking at them all, there's a lot happening. And we wanted to make sure that you had them in hand. Some of the events, like the music celebrations, are done during specials at the PC. They're being consolidated into some specials, so you'll get a separate calendar from Ms. Henson. Here, it'll be at the IC, it'll be on the day that you have your program, your music. Your program will be on the day that you have music during that week of specials, but you'll get a message from Miss Martin as well. We've set a date for student-led conferences, and we'll be sharing with teachers what that looks like in the upcoming weeks. And you can see when the end of year festivities are. We put in some additional things like K-2s being invited to come do a tour at the IC, because we talked about families haven't had that opportunity, and when we've had a lot RSVP already, we talked about it at PTO today, there's been about like 35 that have already RSVP'd. So that's coming up on the 26th. So we went ahead and put that. So when parents get this, they'll see it and be able to come to that event. And so, and we'll make sure it goes out in Parent Square. It'll be in the Weekly Star and my message that I promise I will get sent on time. And so I wanted to share that with you all. And it helps us all stay focused. Any questions about that? I'm sorry, I know you guys can't see it, but it'll be out.
It is just the student-led conferences, just because the window is so small.
It'll be one morning from 7:50 to 8:20. You will be invited for your grade levels to come in on that particular day, and the kids will be sharing their progress on their goals that they've had. They'll be sharing their student data profile. And it's an opportunity for the students to lead a conference with you. And of course, parents can always request an additional conference with the teachers.
So instead of students just like bringing it home and going over it with their parents,
It's an
it's coming
opportunity.
into the school to go over the information with them.
Yes.
I don't think that was understood probably by most parents. I assumed it was a teacher and the student. I'm assuming that's what you
Yeah, I
thought
thought they were
too.
Yeah.
So
one-on-one.
that will need to
Yeah.
be really explained.
I will. I will.
Okay.
Yes.
That if you can't come, don't panic because your student will do it with you at home.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And
I
the
thought
other
it was
thing that we'll do is if
Sure.
students,
Well, yeah.
is we have like all the support staff, we assign support staff to be in the rooms in
Yeah.
case parents don't come, so
Yeah.
that way they can.
Well, and I wonder, I mean, for classrooms that have 30 students in them,
Mhm.
you're going to have 30, where are you going to put everybody?
Yeah.
Will you
Yeah.
move into like the lunchroom for some classrooms?
Well, we might be able to. A fourth grade will probably be the hairiest
Right,
one because they're
right.
big. But yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
And we could probably use the science lab and things like that. So we'll do that. Student-led conferences are an element of IB primary years program, and that should be in place. And so we're starting that. Kelsey, I see you nodding
Yeah,
your head.
I was gonna say we've done them for for 11 years that I've been here. But they really are lovely. But we have the kind of same setup because obviously not all parents can come. But it is just really nice if there are other staff members that can be there, so that way the student can present to someone, so they're not just sitting there by themselves. As long as someone can be there, even if it's just their teacher or if it's an assistant or specialist, whoever is available at that time, it really is super beneficial. And then it's nice because they get a little practice run before they take it home and do it for their parents. But it really is lovely. Parents end up loving it. But I do agree. I think if this isn't something that's been done like this, then a clear communication that it is just the student, I think would be really helpful. But I think you'll get a lot of really great feedback from it.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank
And I think they've done like, I'm sure the kids have put together
Yeah,
slideshows where
it-
they're.
Mhm.
past
Right.
before. Yeah, that's what I don't know if we were gonna try to get our teachers that far into it this year or two. Because you know, we
There
wanna,
might
we
already
don't
be a
wanna,
template out there that they've used in the
Yes.
past.
yes. So we shall see.
So the kids are.
I hear,
Zero
I'm
with
getting
zero.
messages from the community. Please check, if you're a staff member, please check our calendar. That is posted on our website too for dates, and when you check the morning email for those dates. Awesome. So, the other piece with that, coming up is, and so I'll brainstorm with the leadership team to see how we could educate about student-led conferences too. It was a request to make sure I included the milestones resources from the presentation. And so I just clicked and put those in here so they had the resources for parents at home. There was also a request to talk a little bit about transfer students. And so there was a question about revoking of transfers for students and how that is handled. And so I snipped this right out of the agreement between the district and the parent when a student is approved for a general admin transfer. And so the first thing is they have to have regular and punctual attendance and to abide by the rules, and that it can be revoked if one, the student has been withdrawn from the school. So for example, if you miss 10 consecutive days and we don't have any information from you, we'll withdraw. If they do not attend the transfer school by the beginning of the second week of school, then we can revoke the transfer. If the parent or guardian fails to maintain a cordial and cooperative working relationship with the transfer school, if they accumulate a combination of 10 or more unexcused absences, tardies, and early dismissals or late pickups from school, like still sitting here and the parent hasn't made it here, or a combination of 4 in-school suspensions of 1 to 3 days, that combo, or disciplinary referrals to the office, or 2 or more suspensions of 3 days or more. And so the way we monitor this is part of our whole child intervention team. We have a spreadsheet that lists all of the students who are here on transfer. And I just thought I'd give you an idea of those numbers. There are different kinds of transfers. What's up here is the general admin transfer, but this same blurb is in others, like a hardship transfer. We have 4 students who are on a hardship transfer, which is usually health or continuing program. Like if they moved out of the area and they've been a DLI student and they need to be able to continue that program, but they're still in APS, then sometimes they'll get a hardship for that. We have 18 students currently on general admin transfer. We have 2 students who are on an end of year transfer, which are if a family moves during the course of the school year, they can apply to finish out that school year. And so we have 2, and then we have 24 who are children of APS employees, some of which teach here and some of which are elsewhere. And so these general admin transfers apply to more of the general admin and hardship. If you're a child of an employee, they don't apply as the same because they are kind of supersede that. So any questions on that? I think I got to that answer. Nothing, that was easy.
That makes sense.
I was expecting more. And so, I always start with looking at our school data profile. As we know, we're looking to see if that number of gifted students goes up with eligibility. Our ESOL students, it may go down. Once we get our access results, we may have students who exit. They have just finished all of their testing, and that kind of gives you the overview. Our demographics have stayed extremely consistent all year. Our attendance has just kind of plopped down to 89.5, which you see last year we ended at 89.3. So we still have a few weeks left of school. So we've decided to kind of jump on the attendance thing, and I'll show you a little bit about that. But I also wanted to highlight that we're also doing our school climate survey, and we've already have 91. When I checked and did these slides the other day, when I emailed you, we had 91 who had completed it, which is great. Last year we had about 27, 29 responses. So we're up significantly. We're also pushing it a lot. I know you're tired of my email that comes out every Thursday, but hey, if you haven't done the survey, please do it, but we get a couple more each time.
When do the results come? They come from the state, they don't come from, or do they come from APS?
That they're collected, and Jennifer, you could answer that. Do you want to answer when the gifted results will be available? I know like our eligibility teams are starting to meet, but when will we share the results?
Sure. Well, we're actually going to be doing almost like a rolling eligibility. Had a long discussion today with Buck Green, and
District.
we are trying to see with this rolling sort of eligibility process with the portal. It's just wonderful how it just gleans all the data and checks the dates. So kind of right now, what we're looking at is the spring map that we're going to be having next week can have a pretty interesting impact. So we're going to wait until that data comes in. And then after that, I haven't even had a chance to tell Ms. Perot this. Then after that, and after our product scores are submitted, they're going to decide about the TTCT.
Okay.
So, it's just like, I know that parents feel like it's hurry up and wait, but I'm hoping that we will know something, hopefully by the end of April. And if it's not then that's because we're waiting on those scores, because those tests have to be shipped and hand scored. So, definitely before the last day of school, but I would not look for anything in your email box before the spring break.
Yeah,
I can look
we're in my head, I'm thinking first week in May would be great.
Yes, I think that's probably a very safe date to focus on. And again, it really is going to just be so streamlined. It's going to come through email, through that same the SIS data reporting, whatever suffix you get about school news. So just stay tuned.
And Ms. Moore, if a parent wants to review how they tested, how the students performed, is the data or the information uploaded in their Infinite Campus?
Where
No,
the parent-
they have not started doing that piece yet. And the we can hold conferences with parents about that after eligibility reports are sent out. That's a district rule.
They'll see show
Yeah,
overall
yeah.
where you failed, but you could meet and discuss that with them.
Correct. I mean, your eligibility report is going to have just numbers on it. But what I'm saying is I think I understand what her question is can she see the paperwork that goes with that and says, this is where we are. And so, yes, that can happen, but it has to happen after the eligibility report is sort of memorialized, as they say. So, yeah, it's a legal document. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So my focus for my principal report was all on our school climate goal that we're really working between some of the things we're doing with the dependents and getting the school climate survey. And so as I was preparing, I pulled up our baseline for last year's school climate data from family. This is the family results. And so you can see already at 91, we're above the 28. And sometimes people will skip a question because you have that option. Like, I don't know how to answer this. I don't have a stake in this one. And so when you look, yellow is that we're at or right around the district average. Red is we were below the district average, and green is above the district average. To get credit for the survey, you just have to have 15 or more. And so, but we all know that your data is more reliable the more sampling you have. And so I'm excited to have more sampling this year. As you look at it, some of the things, it was such a small sample last year. So I feel like the more people we ask, the more we'll have. Like if you had a school concern, how comfortable would you feel going to school leaders? How how well do you know the steps to take if you have a concern to share? I know we've brainstormed some ways to clarify that much further than where we are, and I'm excited once we have that division between the two schools of who the leaders are and who are the gifted teachers there and stuff, that we can make that even clearer. How well you kept informed about school-wide news, positive interactions, how often have you entered the school building? I think it's an easy one. Oh, I've been there once or twice, or I've never been, or I'm there every day. And so any, I figured next year when we get the data, we'll be able to pull the new one and kind of side by side be able to look at them and see where we're at, and then make our family engagement plan from that for sure.
This is good to see. We haven't seen this.
And so, and we have the similar data for students, and we have similar data for staff as well. And so we can kind of compare the same things and find where the students are. And if you remember on our strategic plan, a couple of our key performance indicators, one for family and one for students, is on that list of key performance indicators too. So I just wanted to share that with you as we're moving forward, and our goal is always to improve. Never be perfect, but we certainly will try. I did also link in here the family survey, which was the one that I pushed out with the video, where it kind of explained the questions and stuff to families as well. And the other thing we're working on, as I pointed out, that we are at that 89.5, not chronically absent, which I like to call being chronically present, where we've decided as a team to look at a grade level focus, a classroom level focus, and an individual level focus to encourage kids to be at school. And so the first one is the classroom level focus, and actually got this idea from BAMO. They did something similar around Valentine's Day. And so we decided to make it a March Madness, where every day students are in, they get to color in a letter when the whole class is there. And then once they finish that bracket, then they get rewarded. And so, so you can walk around the classrooms outside and you can see how many they've gotten. And so it's 12 days. And so as soon as they get to those 12, they get their prize, and then they'll go up to the next bracket, just like in the real basketball March Madness. And so just doing that to encourage kids. But again, we say, if you're sick, stay home. Always, if you're sick, stay home. Keep the grubbies there. The grade level focus we're doing is to improve the current percentages of students chronically present. I want to say fourth grade, oh my gosh, 94.2%. That's why those classes feel so full. Absent.
I bet the teachers will.
Like, they are never absent. Our first grade is a lower grade at 84.9%. But so every grade that shows improvement, even if you only go from 84.9 to 85, that's still improvement. And in the end, it helps us all. And so the primary will get like a bubble recess party, and the intermediate, who keep begging me to bring back football, will get flag football and friendship bracelet party. And so just dangling some little things for kids that on those days that they're super sleepy, and like, yeah, but you really want flag football, right? And then for our individual students, we're targeting a little less than 20 students who are at risk of becoming chronically absent. And I explained to the kids that, you know, chronically absent is if out of 10 days you miss more than one of those days, then that's chronically absent. And so to talk about over the course of a full year, if you're here on day one, if you're approaching 18 days missed of school, then you're at risk of falling down. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot of days. So we're kind of targeting those kids that are kind of 12 to 16, trying to help them know, we need you here and we need you learning. And so these are a list of some of the interventions that we're doing with different students to get them to be present. We have an incredible resource the district provides to us called Everyday Labs Pro, that tracks all this data. Like we can see that this student misses a lot of Wednesdays. And so like one of the strategies is doing some communication with the families right before Wednesday, like, hey, come to school. And then that's a simple one, but if you don't have that data that just jumps out at you, it's hard to track. And so some of the interventions is our relationship building, because some of the students don't feel like maybe they belong. And so doing something where somebody's invested in them, trying to say, hey, bud, come on, we're here. And so that's a big push for us right now, so that we stay improving and don't drop down. Any questions on what we're doing for attendance?
So just a question about the individual students. All of those seem like things targeted at the kids besides like home visits. I'm wondering what sort of like parent connections do we have that are partnering to help? Because
Yes,
if they're absent every Wednesday, maybe like someone has to go to work and they can't get a ride at the same time. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. One of the things is there's a lot of communication to the families from the Everyday labs. So they're getting reminders, they're things. Tier 3 goes up to, for those students who are really struggling, is more involving the parents and really digging in, communicating. And now that we have a social worker,
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna say.
so nice. And she's
Yeah,
really getting into it and digging in. But yes, and at the elementary, we don't have, the kids don't have as much control.
Yeah.
It's really relies on the parents. And sometimes I have lived the life where it is harder than anything to get that kid to school on, just particular days. And you're doing that. We're getting in the car. And so I have sympathy for parents who really go through that, but we need you to get to school. So
For the absence, especially for the individual, for chronically absent, is that looking at all absences, excused and unexcused? Okay.
Yes. We have a different process for unexcused absences that goes along the truancy path. The state of Georgia looks at both excused and unexcused, any absences, because if you're not at school, you're not at school.
Or like, I mean, I know there's some practitioners who may take a certain age group only in the mornings or something like that, and they reserve afternoons for older kids. So if they do show up
It doesn't count tardies, it's just if they're marked absent for that day,
for the whole day, so if they show up later in the day, they will get
before 11:15.
before 11:15. Okay.
Yeah, do parents
know that? Like, is that a?
No,
Talking
probably
about
I do.
11:15.
We've
We're
been
just talking about that.
The 11:15
Probably
the
not.
magic time.
11:15
No,
is
it's
the
not.
magic number, yeah.
Of like, and it's also the time you
of
have to
leave.
check them out by. I think you can't check them out before 11:15 and have them.
Yeah, if you check them
Right.
out before 11:15, it'll transfer
I
to
do
an
not think that's
absence.
common.
No.
Yeah, we can do more about sharing that.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I don't
think
know.
it makes a difference. For most parents, I don't think anyone is gonna, maybe they would try to get here before 11 if they knew, but
It did to me. I'm just envisioning, when you get the doctor's appointment, if you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
get them in the morning,
Mhm.
or
Or you gotta leave early for.
if you leave early for a trip or something, you're like.
It's a good thing for us to put.
And if
in,
it's a difference
yeah,
between
with the
picking
new
up at
parents.
11:30 or 11, then choose the
Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah.
And then also add to I've gotten stuck in this where I've come too late before the time when you can't pull them out.
Mhm. Like when we're doing dismissal, that's what
Mhm.
typically,
Isn't it like before 1 o'clock?
no, I think now is it
So I think,
1:45?
I thought it was
I think it's
1:45.
supposed to be 1:45,
Uh-huh.
but I think over there, we veer pretty close to 2 o'clock. And I think over here, it's a little closer.
we used to do an hour before. So when school dismissed at 2:45, we
Yeah.
did 1:45. And
So
when
that's
they
why I said
moved
we'll
school
compare.
dismissal back to 2:15, I think they did keep the 1:45
1:45,
dismissal.
yeah.
But as early checkout, which I mean, that is generous, I think, in itself.
I
Yeah.
learned that the hard way.
I know.
They were like,
and
no, you cannot. I was
I
like,
think it's
well,
depending on
the meeting.
who's sitting in the office at the time.
No,
So
but
1:45.
yeah,
Okay,
1:45.
so
And-
11:15,
And
1:45.
that's a local school decision, and it's simply because once you start getting students ready for dismissal, we don't want to lose anybody.
Mhm, yeah.
And it's a lot going on. out
Mhm.
there.
It is a
That was
lot.
our school.
And so one of the things they wanted to make sure that we shared also, and this is actually just my sloppy note taken from when I met with the staff back on March 2nd. But as you know, we've been going through math adoption, and as part of the process, the district narrowed it down to, out of the options that were on display, that they approved 2 vendors, and just like with the literacy, we could choose HMH and Benchmark. It was narrowed down to HMH or Eureka Math, their 2.0. And so the teachers had, reviewed the resources, they had in planning, looked at their standards they were teaching like during a week, and then looked to see how the different resources presented them. And so they had some experience with using the resources. And then we just had a meeting and we talked about the pros and cons of each, and these were their input of what they were saying as we were talking, and I just would jot it down. So, and then we did a poll, and I can't remember exactly how it fell, 65-35 or something like that, if I recall. After we did the poll, because we did an online meeting, we chose HMH into math. And one of the reasons why we did choose is because it seems to have more scaffolding resources for students who may be struggling in math that Eureka Math didn't have. And being a larger company, it has more resources. The lessons are Georgia aligned, whereas Eureka is just like Eureka was before. It's more Common Core aligned, and a lot of the standards overlap and work, but we felt like this would help us roll right into it. We will still use the Godot lessons. We feel like they target the higher order thinking skills and inquiry and a lot of the concept-based teaching. So HMH does as well. So we will be, using both as we go forward.
So one of the cons pointed out for HMH is a lack of rigor. And so something that I've talked about in Go Team, even before I was on Go Team, is I would ask, why don't we consider creating math groups across a grade level of math ability, so that students who have differing abilities, teachers work in small groups within their classroom throughout the week, and you may work with your teachers a small group maybe once a week, and then otherwise you're working independently. And if you are excelling in math, you might not have that small group time with your teacher as much. But if children were across a grade level grouped by different math ability levels, then they could be instructed directly by a teacher on more rigorous math, on grade level math, on moving us up in math.
And we're working with the teachers to do that right now in the classroom with their students by using the data of how the students are performing. And the Godot lessons are rigorous. They do require the students to apply that knowledge and to go further. And so we do see it as having closed some of that gap, and we know we still have access to it. The teachers right now are grouping students into small groups in their room. And you're right, that means some of the more advanced students don't get pulled to work based on, because they have standards that they're looking at, and they'll determine who needs to be retaught the standard. And I do think one of the things and we're about to work on our interview process too with our gifted, is we need to push more of, make sure what we're doing in the gifted side and resource and that math extends, because as we've looked at the data, our gifted students, there's a high percentage getting to proficient, but getting to distinguished is lower. And so one of the things that as a gifted team we want to look at is building in that math extension in there.
I would also recommend looking at missing all of your gate resources during the month of February, which is just closer to milestones during testing. So all of the students who were receiving more rigorous math instruction through their gate teachers did not get that for 4
Yeah.
weeks. So I would imagine that makes a difference.
Yeah, universally, because all of the entire district, has to
Mhm.
stop and do all the testing. Now, I can't say that not all schools have as many students, like we have a very high percentage of students who go through that testing process and meet that eligibility. So it does take a little longer here than in other places, but
Students who are in GATE will get exposed to rigorous math, but also students who are not engaged in the classroom who are showing advanced confidence to get exposed. Okay, that's one question. My second question is not math per se, but it's about learning resources. So the school has done away completely with textbooks.
the students have like, they'll have math textbooks, they're consumable, and they'll go home just like in the olden days with Eureka was. With literacy, the students have the little magazines that go home. That's their textbook.
That's their textbook.
Uh-huh.
And then what about like social,
Social studies and science, we use mostly digital resources like STEM scopes. Science
Yeah.
is going through adoption next year.
okay.
And so we'll see what for elementary. I think it went through for the other grades. Middle and high. Anybody have middle and high? Look, I think they might have done them this year, but we decided to just do one content at a time.
Okay, so math will get a formal book. Literacy, English, what was formerly English, will
Yeah.
use the magazine.
Mhm.
Okay,
And that they have those per unit. So for
Yes.
example, second grade has 10 units, so there's like 10 magazines.
and they're not expected to bring these home every day. They're expected to stay in the
No,
classroom.
we tend to keep them so they don't lose them.
Okay.
How will the testing, does HMH also provide the test for the math units?
HMH does have tests. We are unsure yet how those will be rolled out. Like this year, for example, we're using Mastery Connect with the district's units based on the standards. I don't know, and the district will inform us. They're working on if they will continue to use the same resource as Mastery Connect, if they will switch to a new one. I do believe we will have common assessments like we do. I'm just not sure if it will come from here to what we're using, or if we'll continue to use like standards-based ones that set the bar high. But yes, they do have.
I have a few questions if I can ask.
Yeah.
So anytime there's like a new curriculum coming in, that means like I'm assuming that it is made to build upon each year. So kindergarten, first, second, third. So kids that are coming in, let's say third grade, haven't had K1 and 2 of this HMH math.
Mhm.
What's the process for looking for gaps in what's being taught in HMH to what has already been done?
Well, it's a variety of things. MAP tells us pretty quickly how students are doing, but what we're doing in particular at Sarah Smith is we're assessing. We've identified 5 big standards from the previous grade that we're assessing students on to make sure they have mastered, that are precursors to what they're going to learn in this grade. And we sat and we went through and we're focusing on the numeracy ones that are building addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, place value, those big areas. Like we know there's measurement and geometry, but we know that these things build so heavily. And so we've identified those, and those are the guides to like who needs to kind of be remediated from the previous year. What we do, like deeper scaffolding is for students who score below the 30th percentile on MAP, then are eligible for EIP. And then the students in EIP are also assessed using FastBridge, which identifies kind of like where they stop developing or where the next step is. And so that we can hone that, and then those students are progress monitored more frequently to see if we're closing those gaps as part of that process. And so that's some of the ways in math. One of the things is if you're focused on teaching the standards and not using a resource, then you're not, if students move from other schools in the district or other schools in the state, then they have the prerequisite skills. So, you know, some are going to be behind, but when you solely teach from a curricular resource, then, and you're not worried about whether you're addressing the standards, that's when you end up with students who aren't very familiar. For example, when we used Eureka previously, it was good. It did because it lacked completely using what are called the base 10 blocks, or Dean's blocks was their original name, where they have the flats, the tens, the rods. It didn't use that at all. It used other strategies. So our students knew those strategies going up, but on the test, it was tested on flats, rods, units. And so it's important that we don't just solely rely on a curricular resource to teach, but that we're digging into the standard and figuring out what's in there. So we're excited. We are, I think the teachers are less preoccupied about the math because switching curriculums than we were with literacy, because literacy, we had done such a big science of reading and knowing we needed to revamp some of our strategies as well. And I think with math, they're pretty confident in being able to roll into it. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
I had a petition from your IB ambassadors. Can you clean the bathrooms more? I'm serious.
At this building? Okay. Yes, I can mention it to the
A few more
custodians.
times a day. They, per them, they're never cleaned, right? Because things are
Yeah, very
absolute.
good crew, yes.
But there's a request to have more frequent cleanings during the day.
And we could also probably work on our bathroom supervision of the students in there so as not to end up with so many messes. Because I know they know how to use the bathroom. They do at home.
And I think that request is at the PC too, because my student still goes to the kindergarten bathroom because she said they're the cleanest. And she gets caught.
Yes. I will definitely mention it
Yeah.
to our team.
Makes sense.
Because we have such a phenomenal custodial crew. If you just mention it to them, they will do it. I mean,
Fantastic.
very pleased with that. One of the things that did actually get adjusted, there wasn't a budget impact, but our custodians that we have at Sarah Smith were one of the last 5 schools to have contracted custodians where they weren't employees of APS. And we had a contract with a cleaning company, and Mr. Willie and the ladies are all work for that company. And so the district is no longer allowing us to have contract custodians. And so we have to hire 4 custodians. And we have spoken to our custodians who are so good, and they intend to apply for those vacancies.
Okay. Great.
Because I was like, I threw a temper tantrum, because we love our custodians. And so we'll be going through that process, interviewing for custodians. So if you see that that's posted, that's why.
Thank you.
All right. And then, Kelsey, we had CAT.
Yes, we did.
So they gave us some slides to remember what we talked about, which was nice.
Yes. I had screenshots, so I was actually just pulled it up on my phone so I could. I'm glad you have it there.
Would you like to share kind of what you talked about and I can jump in?
Yeah. So it was on the eSpot, as you can see here, and it was kind of going over, this was just talking about the timeline of their plan for as I said, the road to eSpot for the redistricting and capital planning. So they're doing the community engagement now, the cluster advisory, getting the teacher advisory, and then they'll start the presentations to the board, and then they'll just kind of follow this timeline. We were able to do, which I'm sure we'll get into, but we were able to go into our cluster advisories. So it's all the North Atlanta cluster advisory, and talk about kind of where we thought our focus should be for the eSpot areas out of those 6 areas there. And we're able to prioritize as a cluster what we thought our cluster specifically needed to focus on.
And what jumped out?
So those ones were safety and security, facilities, infrastructure, and transportation were our top 3, and then technology, athletics, and nutrition. Safety and security was one that had jumped out a lot for most people, talking about that was staffing a security person, check-in process, safety vestibules, things along lines on windows needing replacements, cameras working, security cameras outside on playgrounds was another one that was mentioned as well. And then the facility updates, one that was mentioned was functioning ACs. Was one, and just kind of updating facility infrastructure around the schools.
And I do know North Atlanta also brought up their fields and
Yes. Mm-hmm.
they have access to.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So, on that, so y'all gave
Mhm.
the feedback and then the eSPOS will go to the board. And then the timeline you shared was really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't talk about who would be involved in those from a community engagement standpoint. Is that to come?
That
do you
is
think?
that is to come. I do know, for example, as we have a vested interest in Sarah Smith.
Mhm.
I do know that they actually sent to the board to go ahead and start design for Sarah Smith out of the old SPOS. And so that did pass. As a matter of fact, don't tell, but I think they're actually meeting here tomorrow to start doing some looking around and stuff and meeting and talking. So I know it's all getting going. And so they did say that with the schools that are involved in it, they would get with the principal to let us know who gets involved in that process.
Great.
And so I know it's rolling because they just asked if they could use the conference room tomorrow. Like, absolutely, you could use my office if you want. Come on. So it's going. And then we have, I don't know if you have a transition for us to the next, before I switch us to announcements or in the script.
Is public comment.
Did we have anybody? Nope.
Okay. So, we don't have public comment, so does anyone have any announcements?
They did that. They had extended Go Team. We did have 6 parents and 3
wow.
staff. So we'll have real election
Wow.
coming up very soon. I don't know who they are yet. They did say they would get that to us soon. And so when that comes out, watch for that little message that you get to vote.
Wait, it's now extended.
It went.
Yeah, so now it
March
went. It's passed.
It's passed.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm excited. I can't wait to find out who declared.
Who are we losing?
I think me too. Is it?
And-
Yes, 2 teachers and 2 parents.
3 Lakeisha's, I think.
He's a community member.
Who's community.
It's not an
So,
She wasn't elected.
Oh, you mean elected, well,
Yeah, so that's what the elections are for, the 2 parents and the 2.
but
3
Going
teachers.
through.
yeah, I don't know.
Exciting.
I mean, that's gonna be weird.
I know, it's gonna be weird. I could attach
So that's
that
the
to
whole
you.
new basically.
Pardon me? What'd you say?
No, I said we'll basically have a whole new team.
Yeah, every couple
Well,
years,
it's not
every
taking
couple
up.
years it switches out. New blood.
Well, how was, Miller? How was Ben on here? I feel like Ben was on for like. a really
Because he
long
did,
time.
he did 2 back-to-backs and then was appointed.
He was a
Yeah.
parent and then also a community member.
And so you can do 2 terms. So you can do like 4 years and then there's the community stuff. So,
if we are done with announcements,
What are you?
Robert's replacing.
oh, and I didn't get
Yes.
it in here. Thank you for
Okay, good
reminding
call,
me. We
yeah.
talked about it at PTO. Robert Sarkeesian was a parent of Sarah Smith students, very involved in our community, actually instrumental in getting the radar speed signs around. Very involved in the North Buckhead Civic Association and recently passed away. The end of February. They're having his service March 28th. And our PTO is gonna do a donation in his name to his church, I think it was. So-
Whatever he asked for.
Whatever
and-
he
and-
asked for.
He's on his
Yeah.
Boy Scouts
Yeah.
was one of his,
To one of his initiatives
Initiatives, yeah.
in order to just show our gratefulness and how much we appreciate all that he and his family have done for Sarah Smith and the community. It was unexpected.
when were they at Smith?
A long time ago, but he continued, he helped get the
stayed
speed bump
involved,
in
yeah.
front of the PC.
And he started, he was on the original
Go
Go
to,
Team, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that might have been a different Robert. You might be
was
thinking
on
of,
there,
but
He wasn't on.
you're thinking of Robert.
I'm saying the name is familiar.
But his
I
engagement
haven't
is
seen it in a
extended.
long
Yes.
time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And literally, like I've got since I've been here, emails and things, so it was very sad.
Hmm.
So, but just keep his family in your thoughts and prayers, and we're ever grateful for contributions. So thank you for reminding me. I was gonna try to put a little blip in there. So with that, I think you need a motion.
Yes, so if there are no more announcements, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
This is Elizabeth. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This is Simona, I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions. The meeting is adjourned at 4:16.
We have one more later, April sometime. I'll see you then. I'll see you probably 75 times between now and then. Thank you all.